Welcome to my show, Attitude. I'm your host, Mary Arnott. My show today is about midlife dating. About 50% of adults in the U.S. find themselves in the singles game sometime during their midlife, when all the rules of dating have changed. For those of us in this group, we have wisdom on our side. Or do we? Do we necessarily apply wisdom to midlife dating, or should we throw caution to the wind? Are women smarter than men at dating at this point in their lives, or vice versa? Is it more fun or less fun? Well, maybe we'll have some fun tonight while trying to sort this out. To help me with this, you are sure to recognize my two guests, Lori Roback and Mike Tarosian. Still, both deserve a proper introduction. Lori has an illustrious career, having worked in public relations with corporations, agencies, and independently. With more than 25 years of experience, the last 12 of those running her own company, LR Associates. Lori specializes in marketing communications, strategic and creative counsel, and of course public relations. Her clients include Babson College, Digital Facilities Corporation, Splash Studios, and more. In addition to having worked as vice president and with public relations firms, such as the Weber Group Incorporated and Clark Company, Lori also held public relations positions at the Bank of New England and Liberty Mutual Insurance. She graduated magna cum laude at Boston University's College of Communication and loves using her expertise to help community organizations such as Interstage Left Theater, St. Paul's Episcopal Church, and Hopkinton Special Education Advisory Council with all their community relations work. My second guest is Mike Tarosian, our very own HCAM production coordinator, a recent and well-deserved promotion, I might add. Mike is one of the most dedicated people I know. The work he does for HCAM includes all aspects of bringing our community programming for your television viewing, including producing, directing, editing, scheduling, coordinating volunteers, camera operation, and his personal favorite, making sure that Hopkinton school sports are front and center for our community. However, Mike didn't wait for his TV work to get involved with our dear town. That started way back in 1987 when he moved to Hopkinton. From the start, Mike became an inseparable part of our community, especially with his volunteer work at such vital organizations as the Auxiliary Police Department and volunteer firefighter with the Hopkinton Fire Department. His volunteering also included being a coach and or board member with many youth sports organizations, such as Hopkinton Little League, the Hopkinton National Youth Football Association, the Hopkinton Youth Soccer Association, and the Hopkinton Babe Ruth League. Welcome, Lori. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks, Mary.
Gee, with those busy schedules and family commitments, it's a wonder anybody has time for dating in midlife. So, not to get too personal in our discussion, maybe we can start there. How do you make time for dating with all those things on your schedule? Lori, maybe you'd like to start.
Well, it's not easy, of course, because with children and my career, social life outside of dating, it's difficult. But I find that one advantage I have being a divorced woman is that my ex-husband has the children on weekends, and so that gives me some time to date.
So you do a little planning ahead, maybe, when
Absolutely.
you have the new schedule.
It's hard to be spontaneous.
Well, Mike, on a priority maybe of 1 to 5, where does dating fit in your priority list, 1 being the top priority?
Well, mine would be closer to 6 or 7
6 or
in
7,
that aspect. Between working full-time, 2 full-time jobs now, and still continuing my volunteering at the other levels. I do have very little bit of time for dating, and spontaneity is very rare because you have to fit in a precise schedule, and it is tough. Being divorced and with children, all living with my ex-wife, makes it easier for me to set time because I don't have kids to go home and to take care of. So there is a little bit more freedom there and flexibility in a schedule, but it is tough.
That's one of the big challenges of midlife. I guess we fill our lives up with so many things, and yet we want to make time to get out and meet people and do some dating and have some fun. And
Yep.
when you do meet someone that you want to go out with, does age influence you in any way? I mean, assuming they're legal age, of course.
Absolutely, yeah.
Does age come into play at all for you, and how does that? Mike, you want to start with that one?
Well, age, for the most part, where we're out today, I'm 42 now, and I'm around people that are all in their 30s and 40s. So really, age, you're at places where you're with other adults, and you really don't go seeing people that are a lot younger or a lot older than you. And so I never look at age, I just look at the person.
Well, just because you told your age doesn't mean Lori and I are going to do that, but
Well, everyone knows you're still 29, right?
Right,
Okay,
absolutely.
just checking.
Thank you.
how does Lori's age factor in for you, Lori?
Well, I do a lot of online dating, and I do find that, much to my surprise, a lot of men in their 30s tend to be interested in women of my age, which will be 51. So I find that surprising. And so far, I haven't really dated anyone in that age group because I like someone who's had the same experiences that I've had growing up, the same music, the same cultural background. So right now, I'm still sticking to people primarily within my age group.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. You know, when you go too far out of your age group is you will have people with a lot less in common. And you got to be able to keep up with your current events, I think, to keep any kind of relationship going. And, you know, if you try to talk about something current to a younger person, they're not going to have the same interest that I found. Because when I first started dating again after my divorce, I did a lot of online dating because I didn't have the time to go hang out at clubs or go to dances or anything like that. And so I went the easy route. And I dated younger, and it wasn't any more pleasurable because you had nothing in common.
Right.
It was tough.
It kind of makes me think of two ways we could take the conversation. As one, which I hadn't planned on getting into too much, but maybe we'll touch on it, is how do you meet people? Online dating is not new, but you know, the Match.coms and the eHarmonies and all that are out there. Plus, like you say, if it's hard to get out and find time to meet people, so what do you do to find people that you're interested in? And
Well, one of the ways that I always networked, I've been networking since high school. You know, I was a firm believer in that theory of networking for both personal and professional is a great thing to do. I always, when I'm out, whether it is on a job site, on a soccer field, or whatever, I am always meeting people, finding out about them. And a lot of my dating and meeting new people was just from your everyday going out, not specifically going out to a club in order to meet people. I just filled up my time with my regular things that I did, my coaching or my other volunteer work, and I would meet people that way. And you networked from there. So if I met Jim at the soccer field, Jim introduces me to his friend Barbara, who now then maybe that relationship starts. It was just networking.
sound familiar, Lori? Or
Not at all to me. I think mostly because I work at home, so I'm alone. I don't have that network of people. I am involved in a lot of community organizations such as my church, the theater, but I find that being in Hopkinton, a lot of the men I meet are married, and I'm not interested in married men. So that's why I tend to do a lot of online dating. I find that's the biggest difference from when I was dating before I got married in my 20s. Is, you know, when you're in college or even when you're working, a lot of the people in your age group aren't married, and so it was just a lot easier then to meet eligible men.
and women are getting more willing to try the online dating, I think. You know,
Yes, you have to. There are some precautions you have to take, of course, but I think most people now are pretty savvy about not disclosing too much personal information until you meet the person and feel comfortable enough with them. I mean, I don't even tell people my last name until maybe the second or third date.
Well, they're all going to know it now, but that's
There you
beside the point.
go. Cat's out of the bag.
Cat's out of the bag. I have heard one of the best things, though, and I think it's pretty good advice, is that if you can, you know, meet people through family and friends too, or things you like to do, rather than, you know, going someplace just because you want to meet
Right.
somebody,
Yeah.
rather than just do the things you like to do, and you'll run into other people who like to do those things.
Right, exactly. And then you wind up finding more time for one another because you're together doing the same thing. And it may not be one-on-one time with that person, but it may be with a group of people, but you're still with that person spending time with them, whether you're with a group of 10 building a house for the homeless or for whatever you'd like to do. I think as long as you get to spend the time with that person doing things in common with other people is fine. One-on-one time is great, but it's just more time to do things together.
That kind of takes us a direction about maybe the qualities in the person that you're dating or you meet. I mean, if you meet somebody and they have totally different views, on politics or religion, or what happens there?
Well, I find that interesting. Right? I find, of course, it's great to find everyone that's the perfect match.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's
nice.
wonderful, but that's not going to happen. And I think a perfect match is not only people with, another end of a spectrum on a view, but the ability to respect that person's view and be respected for your views, and still be different. Would I date a Republican?
Ouch.
Yeah. I mean, could it happen? Yeah, it's possible. But do I go looking for that, or do I care about that? I let that come out in the conversation. I won't go right off the bat, look, searching someone's profile and say, oh, Republican, yeah, I'll stay away from that. No, you just, I like to spend that first date finding out as much about the person as possible, and not necessarily knowing it all before you get into that first date, because things like religion and politics wouldn't matter to me.
Now, Lori and I happen to go to the same church, so Lori, what about if you met somebody that had totally different religious beliefs or didn't believe in God at all, or?
I think it would make for, as Mike said, more interesting conversation. I do like someone who has a spiritual side. That would be my preference, whether they be Hindu or Episcopalian like me or whatever. But even if they were atheist, I'm not sure that would be a deal breaker. I think, I just feel like you can do whatever is good for you. I mean, one thing I'm doing, I've dated Yankee fans, and I'm a diehard Red Sox fan, so that was the biggest stretch I ever had to make.
Yeah, see, I don't think I could go that far. I think that would be the deal breaker right there.
Republican, but the Yankees fan, well,
Yeah, okay.
I have to tell you a story recently. It's true. This isn't off the, internet or anything. I met somebody in a grocery store. I was out shopping, and we started talking and had a wonderful conversation.
Did you smash the carriage into that person?
No, I
Okay.
didn't smash the carriage into him, but
Just checking.
I just somehow a conversation started up, and we were chatting, and we were walking through the. It was fun, and we got outside, and he started to ask me if he could see me, and he lit up a cigarette.
Oh.
I was so disappointed. I mean, I just
Right.
had to say, I'm sorry. I don't date men that smoke. It's just one of my things. Was I wrong to do that?
No, because what happens when you do go out and then you start liking this guy, and then the cigarette comes out, I mean, yeah, you got to find something out that was a definite deal breaker. And I don't see anything wrong with knowing that if you have something that would be the deal breaker, knowing that right up front before you even wasted any time to even find out if that person is even approachable. So if you're online and they list smoker right off the bat, well, you're not even going to even look any further. Myself, if I prefer not to date a smoker, but if a person smoked, then I work around it by saying, listen, we're not going to smoke in the car, not going to smoke in the house, not smoke, whatever. Just
That's not a deal breaker for you.
yeah, not that way. You work around it. Yeah, you work around it. Yeah, it's Yankee fans, deal breaker.
Well, I dated a man once, and then he started smoking a year into the relationship. And like Mike says, I just made it clear that I didn't like the habit. But by then I already knew other good virtues in him that overrode the smoking. But I certainly wasn't happy about it.
Well, you must have qualities, those that are really important to you. I mean, who wants to brave that question? What do you?
Qualities?
What do you look for?
See,
Sense of humor.
a pulse.
Pulse is always
Pulse is
good.
good.
Especially at our age.
If anyone who knows me, sense of humor is a requirement. If you can't take a joke, it's just not going to work no matter
I
what.
like a good
Yeah,
sense of
you have to have it. I mean, we're the ones that, I mean, I can't tell you how many family funerals and wakes that we're crying away because we're laughing so hard because it's, you know, I think laughter's a cure-all for just about everything. And I think every relationship has to have some kind of humor.
So that'd be
You know.
on the top of your list, huh?
Right. And I mean, in a bonus to that, I mean, if you can laugh and make fun of yourself,
I like that.
that's huge. You know, taking it as well as dishing it out. Oh, and you got to be able to dish it out. You got to be able to, you know, be a little quick and dish something back. Again, a deal breaker, if not in the beginning, but if I can't work you into a sense of humor, then it's not going to last.
Lori, what about you?
Well, I
Anything
definitely.
special you look for?
I also look for a sense of humor. I think what's interesting is how the qualities I used to look for when I was younger have changed because
yeah.
I'm no longer looking for someone to be the father of my children. I already have a father for my children. I'm not having any more children. I'm not really concerned about whether they're a good provider because at this stage of the game I come in with my own financial freedom and independence, and I don't anticipate that changing even if I were to remarry. So I look for character, I look for kindness, I look for caring, someone who cares about other people and is not all about themselves, and the sense of humor.
Sense of humor.
And I like Red Sox fans, but as I said, I'll date a Yankees guy.
I'm kind of glancing over at the timer here because I can't believe how fast the time is going. I think I should have scheduled an hour for this show. 'Cause
Yeah.
We're going to come up on the end of time here pretty quickly. What about quick advice of do's and don'ts on first dates and stuff? What do you like to see? What do you don't like to see?
Wow, do's and don'ts. There can be so many because everybody is different. You know, from a guy's point of view, you know, don't be pushy. Don't be pushy at all. You know, don't, you know, oh, we're going here, going here. I mean, just like any relationship, there's always the compromise, and you might as well start off right and don't be pushy.
Sounds good. Lori?
I like a man who has manners, who treats me courteously, is not pushing himself on me physically or inappropriately, just treats me like a lady. But also I like to be independent. I like to offer to pay for half the check. On the first date, I sort of expect the guy to pay the check, but after that,
The guy should pay.
after that, you know, I think it's negotiable.
I don't know.
Well, money was on my list that we were going to talk
Call me
about here.
old-fashioned. Call me
Well, we got a
old-fashioned.
little time.
Yeah,
Maybe
we got time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we should talk about that. Is money important in dating in this stage? And I mean, stage, I should say, of life. And who pays? How much do you spend? Or
Well, it's important because you need money to date.
Yes.
You need money to date. There's no matter, I mean, whether you're inviting that person over to your house for a nice home-cooked meal, you need money. You got to buy that food, right? Yeah, you do need money. However, you don't want to be in a position that if you don't have a lot of money, is going that extra step to impress, because it will catch up to you later and it won't help the relationship. For instance, we brought up the Red Sox, you know, I take it to that Red Sox game, and you got those nice box seats that you just bought for $400. Okay, all right, there's a $400 pair of tickets there, but anyone who's been to a Red Sox game knows it doesn't cost $400 to go to a Red Sox game, because you have to pay your $50 of parking, you have to pay your food when you get there, and you know, you're going to drop some coin. Don't overdo it if you can't afford that, because it will catch up, because then that person may expect that from you all the time. And then what's going to happen is you get yourself in a situation that you're not going to do that again, and then you blow the person, oh, let's not go out next week. And now the other person's dying to go out with you again, but you're not telling them the real reason, that you don't have the money. No, you got to be honest about it, you know. Tell them what you do. Let the people know, and stick within your own means. It's nice to go out once in a while and to save up and to do that thing, but don't go crazy. You'll
that sounds a
screw it
little
up.
bit from a man's point of view. If you're thinking about how much money you're going to spend, what about how much money the other person may have, and how does that come into play? Or Lori, what do you think about money
Well, I
and
think
dating?
the situation Mike describes where someone's buying you, taking you to some place very expensive, also can look like he's trying to impress you, and that can backfire as well. But like I said, I believe that a woman, if she has the means, should be able to pay part of her way on certain dates and certain things. And I know a lot of men of my age group struggle with that, but I find that it makes me feel better if I can do that, because I also don't want to feel like I'm, leeching the guy dry by spending all his money, and I have my own means of income, and I can afford to pay for dinner or take us out to movies and that type of thing. As long as it's reciprocal. I wouldn't expect to do the brunt of it, but...
Well, if you met somebody that was unemployed, because unfortunately in today's economy there are a lot of people out there that are losing their jobs.
Right, it's going to be a lot tougher now, especially that, all those thousands of jobs in Massachusetts right now are gone, and as people are laid off, what do you do? How do they survive? How do
there are dates
how
that
you
don't
gonna,
have to cost a lot of money.
Right, you can be creative.
Without a doubt, but exactly, what are you going to do? And that's the thing, you have to be creative about it and stay within your means, and that's important. And as far as if I dated someone with more money than I make or have or make, and they want to do things, absolutely, that's fine if it's, mutually agreed upon.
So don't let it be a problem. Just work it out.
Right, work it
Be
out,
open
and
about it.
it's all with the communication and everything else about how relationships should go.
All right, here's a question. What's your ideal first date?
She talking to me or you?
Both of you got answers.
I don't have anything
Ideal first date.
really unique. I like just going out to dinner. I like having a meal with someone. Well, sometimes they say the first date should be like meeting for a drink or coffee, and then if it goes well, you say, why don't we have something to eat, so that you're not stuck there for an hour or so with somebody that you've decided right off the bat you don't like.
Right.
But I like something where you get to know somebody. I mean, if you go to a movie or something, you really don't get a chance to talk to somebody unless you do something after the movie.
Right, yeah, movies isn't good, especially, if for myself, where I'm working so much and you're going to spend that couple hours in silence, with a new person, and now that's a couple hours sitting there in a nice, comfortable chair watching a movie. You're going to be tired. Now you're going to expect to carry on the start of your date.
Right.
Yeah, no, you got to start off somewhere where you can talk and communicate and go over and see if you're going to like each other.
So dinner and a movie's not exactly maybe the best.
Well,
Maybe
you could-
just a dinner.
Just a dinner, yeah, absolutely. Or if you're going to do a movie, and again, stay within your means, and you rent that DVD or you pay-per-view it, and you do it at home, you can talk all you want over a movie at home.
So I guess I'm out in left field because I'd like to go play laser tag or something. Something a little different.
Yeah, sure, let's go around and killing everybody with the laser, yeah.
Let's see how aggressive
That's
she
great.
really is.
Yeah, wait a minute, that didn't come out exactly right, did it? Well, scratch that one, What else? Any last-minute thoughts or
Well-
anxieties about midlife
Well, there's
dating?
plenty of anxieties. I mean, when I started dating again, I was looking at it. Let's see. I was dating the person. I was 18 when I was dating my wife. Okay, so I went 12 years after the courtship, 12 years of marriage, and next thing you know, boom, I'm back in the dating realm. A total of 22 years later, and I'm saying to myself, well, what do I do now? It's not the same game, because back then I was in high school, and when, like I tell my daughters, those high school guys are looking for one thing, and they don't, and it wasn't a relationship. So
This is a
it's
family
changed.
show, Mike. Let's-
Absolutely. So things have changed, and everyone's a lot smarter. So honesty is the...
I don't mean to interrupt. I'm similar in circumstance. I met my husband when I was 19, and then we got divorced almost 30 years later, so that was a long time between dates. And things have changed a lot. But one thing I think I found is that looks aren't as important, and people aren't expect you to be flawless in your looks and that type of thing. We're not living in Hollywood. We're all aging. And I think I find men as well as women seem to value character more. And I guess my advice would be, don't give up on someone after the first date if you don't feel a real chemistry or spark, because that can come. Now, after 3 or 4 dates you don't still have it, then it's probably not worth pursuing. But sometimes you need to give someone another chance, because on first dates people are just nervous and they aren't really themselves.
Okay, so we don't want to necessarily judge people in the first 10 seconds, but there are things that you look for.
You gotta give it time. I mean,
Yeah.
there's those initial things, like if they're holding a cigarette, you know,
Yeah.
something
Right.
like that.
Yeah, that was a deal
Yeah,
breaker.
those are the
A little
things.
bit of regret
but
there,
you just, yeah, you gotta give it time, and you gotta talk. You gotta be able to, you know, tell the people what you expect. You know, I don't see anyone trying to change me. I mean, I am what I am.
Well, speaking of time, we're out of time, but I can't thank you both enough. Like
Oh, it
I
was
said,
fun.
Maybe I should have scheduled an hour, or I'll just have you back and we'll kind of continue.
Yeah, maybe,
this.
maybe we'll see how we
We get some
do
input
it
from
in 6 months.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, we'll come back and
See if
touch
we-
base in 6 months
Yeah.
on how we're all doing.
Let's see if we have the same things. We're still saying the same values. No, I've changed my mind.
Well, thank you. That brings us to the close of another episode of Attitude. I hope you enjoyed the show. I know I did. My gratitude to Lori and Mike for talking with me about midlife dating. If you have a topic and would like to be on the show, send an email to attitude@hcam.tv or write Attitude, care of HCAM, 77 Main Street, Hopkinton, Mass. 01748. Thanks to the HCAM staff and all the volunteers who make possible this show and all the HCAM programming. Until next time, I'm Mary Arnott, signing out with Attitude.